Good day, everyone. Welcome to the sixth debrief of Global Community Engagement Day. Yeah, we just had 28th of January 2023, so that's the sixth Global Community Engagement Day since we started. And every year we try and get together either just before or just after. Myself, Andrew Coulson, Becky Hirst. Hey, Becky.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. And Dr. Wendy Sarkissian. Unfortunately, Dr. Wendy Sarkissian, we think, is still celebrating a milestone birthday. We haven't been able to contact her, but we do know that she had a rather large party scheduled for the weekend for her birthday. So we believe she's still enjoying that. Maybe she's on a cruise ship somewhere, and I don't know. So we've lost Wendy.
Brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I think you get to that point in life and in your career where you're just like, do you know what? I'll show up if I want to show up, but otherwise I'm going to have my big party and we'll see if she joins us.
Yeah, we're going to record today and we'll obviously share this with fans of Global Community Engagement Day. And hopefully Wendy might pop in a little bit later. If not, we do know Wendy was fully supportive again of this year. We had a bit of a brief chat with her beforehand. Obviously, we confirmed the theme for this year, which was strong communities through ongoing community engagement. And I think, it went off again, which was good. It was, we're on the 31st of January now here in Adelaide, South Australia. So it was a couple of days ago. But I think, Becky, you probably agree with me again, that it was another good year for Global Community Engagement Day.
It was. And doesn't it just feel like Christmas Day every single year? I love it. And I forget that feeling until it's like the 27th of January and it's in the evening. And I usually have like a last minute panic of, oh, I haven't posted anything. I need to do something. It's Global Community Engagement Day tomorrow. And then it suddenly kicks in this feeling of sort of just celebration. And I even joked with my kids this year. I said, I hope you've got mummy a present. It's Global Community Engagement Day tomorrow. And they were like, are we meant to do that? No, we don't do presents, but it feels like that. It's a really good day to just acknowledge and celebrate the concept of community engagement, I guess. So yeah.
I think one thing I noted this year as well, and I think because it was a Saturday this year, they actually started early. There was a few organizations, individuals that did post on Thursday and Friday. Got in a little bit early, started to put calls out there for people to share things and start that conversation. But certainly the Saturday was the day where the social medias kicked off. And for us in Australia, we kind of hope that New Zealand starts today, but it's generally us. We start to see those posts rolling through, and then throughout the day, right through Sunday as well. We start to see posts from Southeast Asia, Africa, Europe, and obviously North America, so America and Canada. And I think if you want, Becky, I can do a quick debrief of.
Yeah, please do. I'll just echo what you said about it was brilliant it being on a Saturday, because as you say, we're normally the first, aren't we, to sort of start things going, and then it's almost like, oh, there's not many people doing stuff, and then suddenly we wake up the next morning in Australia and the world has woken up and it's all happening. But you're right, this year was brilliant because it started that Thursday and Friday, which was good. Yeah. So yeah, please tell me, because you're really good. Between the two of us, and this is the amazing thing about Global Community Engagement Day, is that it has literally been you suggested the idea, I picked up on it, we worked on it ever since, and it's just evolving organically. And so it is literally you and me keeping an eye on it all. And every year we're like, I wish we had more people, or I wish we had a website, or I wish but it's just evolving organically. And I think that's the cool thing. So
I think this year, definitely, there was a few more people asked, do we have a website? And what we obviously do is we point them to there's various days of the year websites. Obviously, the one that it started on for us was Days of the Year, but there are other versions of that. Some of them have really good write-ups on, some of them a bit chunky, they talk about obviously the history, but I think one of them still has a theme on it from about 2 or 3 years ago, and I saw that creep in a few times this year as well. So engaging children in future engagement came through a few times this year. we always do a country count, and I know we could probably employ some better ways of counting social
Well,
media.
this is where I'm saying, Andrew, you always do the country count, because I'm terrible at that, keeping up with it all. I just like, whoa, I love that. But you're really methodical with it, I think.
It's hard. It is hard because obviously we not, apart from the standard, and I haven't even checked Facebook to tell you the truth, apart from the standard Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram, obviously there is Facebook, there's now TikTok, and there's all other platforms which I'm sure that it is hashtagged on. And then there's the hashtags as well. You know, we started off years ago with hashtag #ComEngage Day, that got replaced by hashtag Global Community Engagement Day, which is a bit of a mouthful. This year, I've seen variations again with the year tagged on. I saw one, and it's a friend of ours, I saw one hashtag World Community Engagement Day.
I saw that, yeah.
So yeah, it does go around the world in different guises. So it is quite hard to track. And then obviously there's the language barriers as well. You know, I'm the first to admit I am very poor at language. I can only speak English, but obviously global community engagement is a multinational, multilingual day. And I did pick up on one, I think it was a Mexico tweet or Instagram post that was in language, but thankfully they'd done the hashtag in English, so I was able to pick up on that. But I'm sure I've missed loads. But so last year Becky, you got the t-shirts printed. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, you're a bit blurry, but we get the idea. Yeah.
So we had 40 countries listed on the t-shirts last year, and obviously it was the end of the week. It was an easier one. This year, I have only counted 29 countries so far.
Oh, okay. Only 29 countries.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's excellent. But what I think the good thing about that is, out of that 29, I think there's about 5 countries that are not listed on the t-shirt. So 5 new involved countries. So yeah, Qatar, I think Germany, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, and Switzerland.
Yeah. So okay, so not as many in numbers, but that's fine because we've actually got new countries on board. And like you say, being at a weekend definitely affected it as well. I was also just going to add in that we're obviously monitoring, or trying to look at social media across all the different platforms, of which some we aren't across. We're not able to capture face-to-face stuff. If there's like a community group who have put up a poster in their community hall saying, let's have a get together, it's Global Community Engagement Day, and they're not using social media much, then we're not going to pick up on that. And in fact, there was one post that we saw this year, which made my day as a highlight, was a bookshop in North Carolina that was organizing a story time with a couple of kind of community world themed books, I think for children. And they were doing that at 2 p.m. on Global Community Engagement Day. And that just made my day, because I think we've obviously been through the pandemic years for the second half of the life of Community Engagement Day to date. Now moving forward, I'd like to see more face-to-face stuff happening. But of course, we can't always capture that. It's harder to monitor.
And I know there are organizations as well that I personally work with through my job that reached out to me in the weeks beforehand and said, you know, what's happening, what's the theme, what are you doing? And I know those certain organizations, some of them did do social media, but other organizations, I know one in Queensland, quite a large state government department, they were just promoting it internally and doing stuff internally, you know, and encouraging people to talk about it. And a council in Victoria, exactly the same. Most councils have an intranet kind of system, you know, that staff work on. And every year for the last couple of years, they've put up a poster on that intranet system so that when you log in, the first thing you see is the promotion of Global Community Engagement Day. So we hear those stories, but often, they just don't get shared in the social media world.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, whilst we're on the topic of the non-social media world, we had a face-to-face gathering in what I call the home of Global Community Engagement Day, South Australia. We actually caught up in person, didn't we? And it was literally the couple of weeks leading up. I think you said, what are you doing on the Saturday? And I was like, I don't know, what should we do? We've all got the kids. Let's meet in a playground. And it was brilliant. I was so pleased to see so many people turn up, with and without kids. My children loved it. They loved catching up with your daughter. Your daughter, it was brilliant to see her, and my eldest also made a friend who wasn't even part of our group, who she's now communicating with elsewhere.
Oh, cool.
It's like the ultimate in face-to-face engagement is what we did, just gathering really informally in a playground.
And I think, again, because of the theme, strong communities through ongoing community engagement, it was about highlighting the fact that there are assets within the community that are focal points for different groups of people. And yes, we've both got young families. We were able to converge on that space, but it was in a reserve, it was a playground. It didn't deter other people who work in that space in community engagement from turning up. So we had a person come along with her dog, and so she was walking the dog, she was out and about, she came and joined in with us. We had another lady come with her mother, she wanted to introduce herself to the group and also bring her mother along. And the representation in the group was great as well. I think I counted 4 different council reps, from the South Australia area. There was obviously state government represented. It was really good, and a new person as well. So someone who was new to working in local government community engagement. She just happened to be in the area, and she popped by because she'd seen it on your LinkedIn page, and she wanted to come and say hello, which was great.
And I think for me, it confirmed, and we've always known this because we've always done it in the work we've done together, is that it doesn't have to be formal and stuffy for community engagement practitioners to get together. Like, we are naturally quite adaptable people that you can put us in a playground. In fact, I loved it because we were all sort of at one point huddled around sort of talking about, I don't know, something quite like democracy and something, and then the next thing we all spread out again because the children pulled us all in different directions, and then another group would form and have a conversation. It's actually a really cool way to network, I thought, and connect as professionals. So I think my anyone watching this who's thinking, oh, I'd love to do an event next year, like, don't overthink it, just pick a spot and catch up, even if it's just a coffee shop, if whatever, just make it happen, and then see what happens organically, because people bring what they want to talk about. And I had some great catch-ups with people in that playground on Saturday, so it was so good.
And I think we had a couple of apologies as well, which is good, which means it could have been even bigger. But I think that the final count was around 21 adults, children and dogs. So I think that's a pretty impressive turnout. And like you said, there was deep conversations about various things that are going on in community engagement in South Australia specifically. But then there was that just touch point, people that have worked together for many years, but then their kids getting to meet each other. So my daughter went off with your daughters, and I didn't have to worry too much about her. She was playing safely, and your daughter made a new friend.
It's the ultimate community engagement to strengthen communities. Should we reflect a bit on some of the stuff we saw online? Did you have any particular highlights?
Well, you mentioned the bookshop, which was advertising the reading on Global Community Engagement Day. There was, I picked up a few themes this year, and certainly books, stroke writing groups, stroke authors. There was a bit of a theme there. There was another bookshop that I picked up on, was offering, I think, 25% off on Global Community Engagement Day for books to do with global community. I think that was it was in the UK, that one. I saw a post on Instagram from Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Did you see that one? I think obviously Dolly Parton does her free community book scheme. She invests quite a lot of money in making sure that young children have books to read, and this was just one branch of that Imagination Library.
That's enough though to say now that Dolly Parton is now like an ambassador. I mean, if Wendy Sarkisian, she hasn't turned up because she's celebrating her birthday. Let's replace Wendy with Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I think that's the best celebrity endorsement that we've had in 6 years. So there was that. So my other favorites or other themes that I picked up on was the most posts in one state. I don't know what goes on in Texas, but Texas just seems to want to own Global Community Engagement Day. Like, seriously, anything from road layers to plumbers to real estate agents. There was hundreds related to cities and towns and organizations in Texas. So Texas, and then for organization, we've got to give a shout out to WSP.
USP around the world, it seems. I mean, they are a global consultancy, aren't they? I think, because it seemed like every one of their community engagement people, they were all so brilliant.
WSP from New Zealand, Australia, UK, America, and Canada, I definitely saw. There was multiple, and I'm talking from very senior level staff right down to officers, posting about what they like to, around their community engagement profile. And they put together a little video, I think, as well, which they were resharing across those different platforms. So WSP definitely need to get that shout out. Again, in the US, I counted 11 fire brigades.
Yes. What was with the fire brigades? I was going to raise this. Was this one person managing quite a few different fire brigade social medias?
I think definitely a social media company, maybe promoting fire volunteer. It was volunteerism in fire brigades, but it was, again, it wasn't specifically one state. It was actually across a number of more northeastern states, I think it was, in the United States. So New Jersey, Pennsylvania, there was there, but 11 different fire brigades, I think I counted. There could have been more. Another kind of half celebrity endorsement, the WNBA.
Yes, to their 1 billion followers, 1.4 million. Yeah, they were. So they were. I had to actually look up who they were. So they're the women's basketball in America.
Yeah, it's the women's version of the NBA league. So obviously quite large sporting organization getting involved in Global Community Engagement Day, and again showing what they give back to the community. So female athletes going into the community and teaching and giving back.
Again, that was a really good one for me, because again, it was very specific content that they'd really thought about it, and then the content was pictures of their players engaging in communities. And I liked that, because there's a fair few just sort of graphics go up and all of that, but I really like, so to have such a significant organization and a cool one as well do it, that was brilliant.
A couple more from me. I haven't actually had a chance to research this one, but there was an account called Maggie Walker, like Conservation Park or something. I'm really sorry, I'm probably really butchering this, but there was a lady called Maggie Walker, and from what I could see, she's got something named after her, and she's a historical figure who gave back to community in a lot of different ways in her time, over 100 years ago, I think it was. So again, apologies to this organization. I probably should have done my research, but there was a really nice post from them about this lady, about how she gave back to the community during bad periods in the United States, around segregation and things like that. And so there was a real nice highlight on her.
I'm going to look that one up and check it out, definitely. And let's all promise to do that so that we know exactly who it is that we're talking about.
Did you see Dagger Dog Vinci?
No.
So Dagger Dog Vinci is some kind of social media dog star who paints pictures. And I think I saw it on both Twitter and Instagram that Dagger Dog Vinci got involved in global community.
I'm not saying that Dolly Parton is our closest celebrity endorsement, even though it wasn't direct Dolly Parton, but this dog sounds like potentially our new.
I didn't see how many followers Dagger has got. And I'm presuming he's probably got TikTok as well. Might need to check him out. And finally, the other one that I really liked was there was a zoological park in the UK. And again, I've not written down the name, sorry. But there was a zoological park that was offering free entry to kids on Global Community Engagement Day. Which is cool.
I mean, my main reflection of all of those things is about, and it always is every year, is everybody's interpretation of community engagement. I mean, you and I work in quite a specific space around community engagement being to inform decision making and building relationships, but, you know, a lot around, you know, government, councils, getting people involved in decision making as community engagement. But I love that we all celebrate that just breadth of what community engagement means. So to hear stuff like that is just brilliant. Kids going to the zoo. I mean, that's great. Shall I tell you my my one big favorite?
Yep.
I'm going to actually, before I do, there was a last minute entry. Have you been on LinkedIn in the last half an hour?
No, I haven't. I'm at work.
Ayesha over in I think she's based in Worthing in the UK.
Yes.
She works
Yeah.
in the aviation space, and she's just shared a late saying, I'm so sorry it's late, but she's actually made a video interviewing someone called Louisa Smith, who's the head of aviation at Apian, which specializes in medical drone logistics. And Ayesha's interviewed Louisa all about engagement with communities on land and in the air. So it was just another perspective. I know in previous years we've talked about space agencies and things, but it's nice to know again we've got that kind of airspace stuff going on. But my absolute favourite, I'm going to give a shout out, it's a council local to us, and that's of course the City of Port Adelaide Enfield, who made my day. I mean, I haven't been involved with this, but I have been known to fairly publicly rant about councils overusing the phrase "have your say" in recent years. I wrote about it in my book, This Global Have Your Say Pandemic. And Port Adelaide Enfield chose Global Community Engagement Day to get rid of their "have your say," and they've rebranded themselves Participate Port Adelaide Enfield. So that literally was like Christmas Day for me, to see that a council has really thought about it. They haven't just changed the name, but they've really explored it, thought about it, and then implemented it, and then announced it on that day. So big shout out to them for doing that. That was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously I do work directly with them. And so Robert and Melissa down at Port Adelaide Enfield had gone through quite a process there to make that decision, and obviously involved me. They'd listened to the podcast that we did around Have Your Say. It was certainly high on their topic to make their digital engagement platform a lot more kind of open to collaboration. That it's not just about having your say, it is about participating in some of the decisions that are really key to the council. And I think they're quite lucky at Port Adelaide Enfield that they've got a very strong advocate for community engagement in the mayor, and I believe the deputy mayor as well. You know, so the council, and so the council itself is really, really advocating for going beyond Have Your Say now, and actually, and Participate obviously works very nicely with Port Adelaide Enfield, Port Adelaide Enfield, so it was an easy decision for them. But yeah, they rebranded their sites, their digital engagement platform, new logo, new name, new URL, and launched on Saturday. Global.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. And I think it's worth anyone going and go check it out. If you're watching and listening and this sounds interesting, you know, and you're looking for that alternative to that sort of old school Have Your Say mentality, they have really embraced it beautifully. I think just the text reads really nicely, and some of the projects they've been working on, and it's all on the digital engagement hub, as you say. It's brilliant to see. So thank you, Port Adelaide Enfield. And it's good timing. Who goes next?
Yeah, I mean, it's good timing because we do have, in my work life, we do have we've probably got 3 or 4 people using the digital engagement platform that are wanting to do the same. So we've now got that case study to show them that it can work. And it's actually really good because it allows the organization to reach out to their members as well and say, hey guys, we've updated, come back in, have a look, update your profile. I believe Port Adelaide Enfield are also going to be running a little bit of a sign up kind of competition as well to get new members, so it encourages people. And as you said, some of the projects that Port Adelaide Enfield do already are very hybrid, and we've spoken about hybrid before. There's one particular one down there that's a big favorite of ours at the moment, where they're engaging schools, classrooms, getting the class to fill out ideas on pieces of paper, but then they're taking photos of them, putting them up onto the digital engagement platform and having people comment and vote on what they like. And that information that's being collected qualitatively is being fed back into work plans for the council, and some of them they're actually ticking off already, which
so good. I've actually just this morning looked up that example you've talked about with the children, and I forwarded it to my mayor of my council because there was a bit of a chat happening around engaging children, and I said you should check out what Port Adelaide Enfield are doing. So yeah, big shout out to them. And another thing that this year has been the merch. Obviously we mentioned the t-shirts. I made, these are just from the ironing pile this morning because we were wearing them at the weekend. I made this one last year just for yourself and I, didn't I, just as a bit of fun, and I listed the countries on the back that participated. That was like, these are like uber limited edition because there are literally 2 of them in the world, and they were specifically for 2022 as well. But then this year, and again you did this at breakneck speed within about 2 weeks, you designed these fabulous, and these are standard ones, they haven't got the year on, so which is really good because this means now people can get ready for next year in ordering their t-shirts now. You tell us about the tea towel as well.
Yeah, well, so obviously yeah, with the merch, it was just an idea. We actually got, Becky and I posted a lot of photos in the last couple of weeks of us wearing either last year's t-shirt or the new t-shirt, and quite a few people reached out to us and said, where do we get them from? And so yeah, we thought, okay, let's just quickly set up a print on demand t-shirt ordering system. There are so many out there. Becky's done research, I've done research. We tried to pick one that was as environmentally friendly as possible, that was local when it came to fulfillment. So there are various sites in Australia and I think the US, if people in the US and Canada want them. But basically, yeah, I set up the design for this one, very standard design. I recreated your design, but slightly different. Obviously, it hasn't got the year on it, it hasn't got the countries on the back, and it's a slightly, the full O is replaced with a globe instead of the outline. And then, yeah, just as a cheeky extra, I put a tea towel on this. So these print on demand companies, you can basically print up any kind of merchandise, and then you just choose the price, and obviously they have to make their money to pay for the goods and the printing, and there's an opportunity to make a slight bit of profit. Well, I thought, let's be really cheeky, and I put a tea towel on there, just a really standard tea towel with this design on it, and I set it at $100. And I put in the description, you're like, seriously, if anyone wants to buy this at $100, I'll restrict it to, maybe 5 only. So as soon as 1 or 2 or 3 are sold, I'll just cut it off and not sell anymore. So they're, uber limited edition, and any profits made on that tea towel, I said I would donate to a charity that got involved in this year's. No, I unfortunately didn't sell one, but if anyone wants to buy a tea towel, for $100, maybe they can frame it. I'm sure Becky and I would sign it if you wanted to.
I love that, and we could get Dolly Parton involved, maybe signing it. No, I think keep it on there because cost of living crisis is probably quite relevant around the world at the moment. But you never know, next year we might all be flush with cash and just able to spend $100 on a tea towel. I think that's a brilliant thing. Maybe one of our corporate people who get involved, WSP, not looking at you, maybe they might like to buy themselves a tea towel that could do the rounds of all their their lunch-rooms around the world, the one tea towel.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it was just an additional thing that we added this year. Year 6, we are getting a little bit more personal contact from organizations and individuals, and we certainly had probably 4 or 5 people ask about t-shirts. I know Josh, who's local to us, he bought himself a t-shirt. Was it Anne bought one of your t-shirts?
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was another sort of Christmas Day moment, seeing someone doing a selfie in one of my t-shirts. And I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who tagged both you and I in posts. I thought this year was particularly strong as far as we were really acknowledged as the sort of co-instigators and the people that put in the legwork to get the momentum and keep the momentum going. And I think that means a lot. It does. It definitely means a lot because we don't always get that. And it's nice to just sort of get that, like, keep going, keep doing it. We really appreciate what you do. So Thanks for everybody who tagged us in
Yeah,
post.
well, yeah, it makes my job easier as well, tracking what's going on.
Very true, very
Now
true.
we still didn't reach any of our personal goals that we set ourselves, I think 2 years ago.
I was waiting for him all day, Obama. I was waiting, and he still hasn't delivered the goods. Admittedly, again, I've done nothing towards it, but I've said last year, and I'll say it again, he knows where I am.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, maybe Dolly Parton or Dagger,
Or the dog, yeah, Dagger could put in a word.
Personal friends, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, as far as I'm aware, there was no Google. What I was disappointed was like the next day, the Google Doodle was something to do with bubble tea history. I was like, come on, Global Community Engagement Day is better than the history of bubble tea.
Just to recap, if anyone's tuning in, our 3 goals are: I've got a personal goal. I'd like Barack Obama to acknowledge Global Community Engagement Day. Just a little tweet, just anything, just something. Maybe he could pay us a visit. Andrew's is to get that Google, where Google changes its name on the homepage to a graphic about a particular day. We'd like Google to be Global Community Engagement Day. And then the third one, did we achieve it? We want Antarctica to get involved, because it's our only continent that hasn't got involved so far.
I don't think so. I didn't see anything. I think one of us definitely needs to apply for a job there and just go down for a couple of weeks and then resign.
So yeah, if somebody could let us know if there's any jobs going in Antarctica around December of this year, then Andrew and I are available to go and take the job up for a few weeks, and then we probably will resign. Yeah.
I did have a 4th one, which I think, I can't remember if I discussed it last year. I definitely know I tweeted you about, not tweeted, SMS'd you about it, was to try and get an episode of Bluey dedicated to community engagement.
Yes.
I know they've done one on voting before in elections. Well, it kind of starts off with that and then they play a game, but yeah, I think they've kind of done council bins and things like that before. I'd love to see them do something around community engagement.
They would, and because Bluey is so big in the US now as well, it's kind of got that global thing. I think when you talked about that last year, it was still very much an Australian thing, but yeah, Bluey is, okay, let's keep that as a goal. Any new goals? No. Maybe a website, one day a website.
Yeah, obviously that's always been the goal. We do have the domain name, we just don't have the website set up yet. And obviously if we did do that, we can host the sales of the t-shirts, we can hold the history on there, all that kind of stuff. We can list the countries that have been involved and make those shout outs to the organizations that do get involved year in, year out, because there are a few that have been there from the start and they repeatedly get involved every year, which is really good. And
yeah.
Cool.
Well, we have to wait for next year now, year 7, a whole year to wait.
Yeah,
January 28th, 2024.
The 7-year itch.
Yeah.
I mean, is it going to be a Sunday next year? Because it's not a leap year.
I assume so. I think so. I'm just going to have a really quick look.
I think next year is a leap year, but obviously January 28th of January falls before. So I've got a feeling.
Yeah. Oh no. Yes, it's a Sunday. Oh, so we have to do a Sunday kind of themed thing.
Yeah. Sundays might be better for a personal meetup, like in-person meetup, because I know a couple of people dropped out this year on the Saturday for the South Australia meetup because of kids' sport, football, swimming, whatever it is that's going on. Parents basically become a taxi service on a Saturday. So hopefully, maybe, we can organise something on a Sunday next year.
Yeah, and let's have things happening around the world, face to face. That's my big goal for next year.
Yeah, we'll be in a good position for organising that next year. And theme-wise, we didn't really touch on that, but strong communities for through ongoing community engagement. I saw a few posts that were definitely aligned to that. Again, I think one of the WSP posts definitely was Kapia in Victoria, friends of ours. they definitely aligned their posts to that, and there was definitely one other, sorry, can't remember who it was.
Aisha's one that's just coming in the UK had about strong communities. I actually really like having the theme each year. I wasn't always sold on it, but it's good because you can sort of see who's connected in somehow. Because again, no website means there's no sort of central point that's saying this year's theme is this. It's just word of mouth through our posts. So it's actually quite interesting, isn't it, to see who gets the theme and who doesn't. And then, like you say, others who've looked it up but have maybe got a previous year's theme, which is fine as well. It's fine.
Yeah, I think the other one was EPA, New South Wales. I think they did something along those lines. And I know Robert at Port Adelaide Enfield, his personal post was along those lines as well. So
was
good. Next year, should we just
anything can happen in a year? We tried to decide, didn't we, in around September. We did a podcast and we didn't get around to deciding. It was a very last minute thing. Next year, we promise we'll be more organized, but we probably won't. I think it's best when it's all just done last minute and like chuck stuff out there. It's great. That's where the energy is at.
Yeah, and we get the momentum, I think, as well, like especially on LinkedIn, when we start talking about it about a month or 3 weeks beforehand, we do get that momentum because then it's fresh in people's minds.
Yeah.
They'll start posting our LinkedIn stuff. We created a couple of logos this year on, just using a free online service, which was able to then, and I actually saw people using them as well, which was great, which means there was 3 or 4 posts definitely used one of the designs that I put together. So yeah, I mean that means that people are actually following us and listening to what we've got to say about Global Community Engagement Day. But yeah, I think for next year, keep an eye on our LinkedIn profiles. And we'll certainly have those conversations throughout the year and see what happens trend wise as well through 2023.
I wonder. I daren't even predict where we'll be at for 2023. I can't wait to see what it will be.
Yeah. I mean, I often write something for Global Community Engagement Day and something around trends for the year. And I've seen one organization do a trends 2023 blog already this year. And I was like, that's just pretty much what we talked about last year. There's nothing really new in there. It's actually really hard to define what the trends are going to be this year because the world is in such a flux at the moment through various different reasons, that people are just trying to get on with life as it is. And so if that means, ongoing community engagement to make those communities stronger, then we were definitely on.
May well be. Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, there's definitely something in that, like you say, shifting world at the moment that I don't even predict. I can't wait to see what it is in a year's time, but we got a long way to go between now and then. So I guess we should probably wrap things up, shouldn't we? Thank you to everybody that's been listening and stuck with us this long.
And also happy birthday to Wendy, of course.
Indeed. It was, I don't think she minds people telling her it was a significant one.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Shout out to Wendy, who of course it's her birthday is why Global Community Engagement Day is on the 28th of January.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Great to catch up, Andrew.
Thank you, Becky.
See you next year.
Bye-bye.